And I looked in there and I realized that she wasn't a baby anymore. My God, where did all the time go? The only person that loved me unconditionally, and I let her down. Man, I just wanted to rip that car door, man. I wanted to reach in there. I wanted to tell her how sorry I was for ever leaving, and nothing came out. She rolled down the window a little bit, and I looked in there and I said, "Do you know who I am?" And she looked back at me and she said, You're my daddy." And I ran back in that room and I cried so hard. And for the first time in my life, I kneeled down and prayed. And I meant it this time. I said, "God, please help me."
Welcome. This show empowers you to confront and overcome addiction with real stories, inspiration, and a host of resources. Our growing community supports, uplifts, and takes action to enable a new way of living. Now, F3 Recovery brings you the Super Sober Podcast. Welcome to SSP 43. Thanks for tuning in. We have another great podcast for you. We're doing an interview back to back. We had Kevin B on the last one. We got Brian D on this one. Just to let you know, I'm your host, Brett C. My sobriety date is 4/21/03. I'm an RN with a BSN. Been helping people with this crazy convoluted disease, addiction. And then we're going to go right to our interviewee, Brian D. Go ahead and let us know who you are and your sobriety date.
Hey, good morning. My name is Brian D. And my sobriety date is 10/24/2000.
And what do you do?
What do? I own my own handyman service.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, if you guys need some help or whatever, reach out to us or Brian D. Man, he can help you out around the house, Mr. Handyman. Let's go. And don't forget about our producer here, Solomon. Say, hey, the best in the business over here.
How you doing?
At the podcast place in Long Beach, California. You want to go from zero to podcast, get out of analysis paralysis, get the word out about whatever you want to get the word out about. He is here to help. And we're doing this awesome interview with Brian D., another amazing story of transformation. But first, as we do for most of the SSP episodes, are some rad sobriety milestone shoutouts, right? They keep on coming. Let's go with Patrick M., brother, with 2 years. Thanks for all the support. And then we got Brian W. with 6 years, Miguel P. with 6 years, Thora G. with 10 years. Let's go.
Yeah.
A lot of rad sobriety. I've known a lot of them, their whole sobriety, man, and just keep on keeping on is always on the podcast here. And don't forget, it's tax season. You want to reach out. You want your tax man just not for around tax season, but all year round. We got Mike D. He's on the resources page on f3recovery.org. He is the remote tax doctor. He can get you out of whatever situation you're in. You got back taxes. He can help file for it. We can do all of that stuff. He's on some podcasts in the past and you can see how he helps people out. But we're doing an interview with Brian D. We're going to encapsulate another whole story here with like 20 years of addiction, 25 plus years of sobriety. Man, back and forth, up and down and all around. So stay tuned for this one for sure. So let's go. Let's just get into how it was. Thanks for coming on, Brian D. We've been going to meetings together for a long time. We got a lot of history and stuff, a lot of different meetings. We're friends with your better half, you know, shout out to Chris out there. What's up, girl? And friends with the wife and stuff. We go to meetings. We've been, you know, breaking bread together and all that stuff. So without further ado, let's break it in with your story, like how it was, some war story. You know the deal. I don't think Brian D's ever been at a loss for words, and neither have I been. So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, my name is Brian D. And I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. I've been my sobriety day is 10/24/2000, and for that day, I'm truly, truly grateful. And what it was like, you know what? It was a lot of fun. You know,
yeah,
a lot of fun.
Let's go
you know.
into some, because we're going to be, just for the listening audience, you know, we're going to be showing a bunch of pictures. As always, you want to see the video, we're on YouTube. So if we're explaining any of the pictures or whatever, you're just going to have to see our beautiful faces on YouTube. Otherwise, we're on all listening platforms. There you go.
Yeah, you got it, man. And what I'm saying is it was a lot of fun until it wasn't, you know. And see, the thing was, you know, yeah, there's your most beautiful upbringing as the mother of my father, man. I was born in upstate New York, you know, and had a great upbringing, you know. I'm surrounded by decorated war heroes. My father's father, my mother's a saint, man. She's a nurse. She's always been into the medical field.
And that's you on the bottom left corner right there?
Bottom left. Yeah, that's me.
That's a great family.
Yeah, my brother up there, 82nd Airborne. And oh my God, there you go. That one right there was the beginning of my my soccer career. See, what happened was my father looked down at me and he said, "Hey, look, son, you either go to the military or or get a job." And I told him, "Hey, I'm 14, man. What do you want me to do?" So I did the next best thing, and I became an athlete, you know, and I pursued my athletic career. And
so you were born in upstate New York?
Yeah, I was born in upstate New York. I was born in Newburgh, New York, and it was really cold up there. You know, got to see a lot of New York, and you know, and we went down to Glen Cove, Long Island, where my sister was born, and my my younger brother, and from there we traveled here to California. Yeah, to California. And
how old were you when that happened?
That was in the late 70s.
Okay. How old were you?
I was about, I would say about 4th grade.
Okay, that's a big transition.
Yeah.
Yeah, you already had a bunch of friends and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
The first geographical of Brian D.
Yeah, man. And you know, the great part about that is we drove out here in a Ford Pinto station wagon. You know what I mean? From upstate New York all the way down. We went to the I-40, and we did that twice. You know, and it was great. It was great. I went to Betsy Ross, Palm Lane, and it was in Anaheim area. Betsy Ross, Palm Lane, Ball Junior High, Stoddard Elementary. Betsy Ross, Palm Lane, Stoddard Elementary, Ball Junior High, and Lower High School.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was great.
So you were a great tight-knit family. Your parents were very loving.
Yes, absolutely. Great upbringing.
That's amazing.
You know, me growing up, I never saw them smoke or drink a day in their life. Why was I any different? I don't know. I mean, I don't know, something in the genes, you know, the previous genes, you know.
Uh-huh.
And from then it took on. I remember this one. This will go back to you. That was on Catella, and I knew I might be an alcoholic.
And we're in the Anaheim area.
In the Anaheim
Orange
area.
County, in California. Remember, people are listening all across the world.
Yeah, it was a Alpha Beta on Catella and Euclid, right? And I ran up there, the Alpha Beta, because, you know, when we were kids, we used to go to there used to be a little nickel arcade right there. Those are the times where when your parents, their uncles come from, you know, my uncles came from Hawaii, you know, from off leave, and they'd write me a note, you know, and he'd tell me, light beer from Miller light beer, has to be light beer, and he'd give me the money, and he'd write the note down, cigarettes and cashews, and I'd run down to the Alpha Beta and I'd give the guy the note, you know, because he'd always see me there, and he'd go down there and get there. Well, one day I figured that, you know, I got this real brilliant idea, you know, and I said, hey, maybe I'll what I did was I stole my very first 6-pack of beer, and I ran up there in the Alpha Beta bathroom, and I started drinking them.
How old were you?
Yeah. Oh my God. I was in elementary school. I was in Stoddard Elementary School, and I figured
you're like 11 or 12.
Yeah, about 12 years old. And I sat there and started drinking them in the bathroom, and all of a sudden I forgot the time. I didn't realize how long I was in the bathroom, and I hear the pounding on the door, and he said, "What are you doing in there?" And I go, "Oh my God!" So I got out. I ran out, and he says, "Hey, come back here." And that's when I realized that I had the natural ability of running really super fast. And it took me just minutes to get from, you know, Catella and Euclid to Catella and 9th and be out of sight. And I go, wow. You know, and that's when I realized that, you know what? That was fun. See, I wasn't just, and then the throwing up part. Oh, because I ran that far. I didn't think that one all the way through. I was too young. And I said, wow. But see, it was it was just the thrill of doing it and the thrill of getting away, you know, and I looked back, I said, man, he didn't have a chance. And that's when I realized that I had the ability to I got to start running, you know, and I got to start running really, really fast. And so I put that into soccer. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's awesome.
And that right there, that picture right there was my first tournament. I was saying goodbye to the girlfriend at the time and saying I was in my first tournament as a walk-on for the San Diego Sockers, and it was a tournament in Miramar
Wow.
where I played, and the Chargers happened to be there. So I
Okay.
got to be on the field with some of the players in the Chargers, and this was early '80s, early to mid '80s, and I got to show them some of my skills, and they got to realize that hey, this kid can run, and I got to kick a few field goals, and that's when later on, I got to play for a little bit, man.
So back in the elementary, right there, you started playing soccer.
Started playing ASA, American Soccer Association,
Okay.
Anaheim Soccer Association, and excelled that to the level. I stayed in there for years and
Burning off that energy.
burning off that energy, man. And I didn't have time to do anything else. I was too young. That was my first lick of alcohol, and I just started playing athletic and excelling in my athletic ability. Then my parents decided to, as a freshman in high school, they decided to go to Puerto Rico
Wow.
to move
To
back
move?
to Puerto Rico, and
So that's where your parents came from.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
my
they came
ancestors,
from there
yes.
to, yeah, wow.
What I realized
That's
is
why you got that cool skin,
yeah,
natural tan.
and I could jump in the water. You guys think it's really cold here? This is nothing. You know, I come in there without a wetsuit because I never could afford one, so I always was in the ocean. And what happened was it was a major culture shock
Hmm.
for me. It was everything was new. It was, a microwave was new out there. I had a tin roof. It was
And how old
weather.
were you then?
This was so after the 8th grade. So after the 8th grade, I went there and did my a few years back in Puerto Rico, and that's where it took a toll of my ism. I got to still play. I got to become a boxer there, and I boxed because I got bullied there. As soon as I got there, I got bullied because I was an outsider. Even though my brother, he was born in Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico, and even though I am Puerto Rican, I looked different. So they bullied me because of the way I looked, my appearance. See, I was raised non-racial. You know what I mean? My best friends were of color, and it was just I don't see that. You know what I mean? And we had just a beautiful. It was just absolutely beautiful out there, and that's when I didn't realize that was the beginning of my alcoholism and my drug addiction. You know, I started to excel there. I started, I started boxing. I played soccer there, and
It's a big soccer country.
yeah, big soccer country. And then they split up. It was
Oh, your
my
parents split
parents
up?
divorced. They said they
It's
split up.
another big factor for addiction
Yes.
too.
Yes, and so my father went to California, and we all left back here. I continued to excel in my athletic ability, but my missing my father and seeing the pain in my mother and the pain there were it was devastating. It's devastating to see the fighting and the stuff going on. I never seen them do that before, so it was all new to me. And being done in a different country, believe it or not, even though Puerto Rico is part of the United States, it's still a third world country. Back then, it wasn't as modern as it was now. And I continued to excel in boxing. I continued to excel in my athletics. Continued to surf. Learned how to surf there and spearfished. And how I earned money was my brother and I would hunt crabs, land crabs. We'd go in the marsh and with boots on, and I would design little box traps, and I'd sell them on the street corner for dollars. And a American dollar went a long ways then. And then that's when I realized I had a hustle.
I was going to say that. Most of us do.
I had a hustle. I had a side hustle. And
Nothing like making your own dough when you're
yeah. And then the phone call came and he says, I want my boys. And he told my mother that he wants the two oldest boys to come with him to California. And I found a person who taught me how to read and write, Spanish, and she was a neighbor, and we kind of like fell a little in love, you know what I mean? And I was like, I was still homesick from California because I left my first love, in California, my first, my seventh grade little high school sweetheart, you know what I mean? And I said, oh man. And my mom looked at me and she says, there's nothing for you here in Puerto Rico. There's no jobs. It's just poverty. It was real poverty. And she says, it's better for you to go. And she's going to leave it to me. I was still a minor, so I really didn't have much of a choice. And so he sent for my older brother and I to go. And so just think about this: two young one teenager, one preteen, on a flight to New York, from New York to California.
What an adventure!
What an adventure that was! And we had a layover in Atlanta, Georgia, and I got to meet Ric Flair and Evander Holyfield. And yeah, it was just amazing, and like how big these guys are. And here I am. I landed in California in 1986. I went back to
what a time to land in California.
Wow, it was crazy. I got there in 86, and the plane crashed in Cerritos. Shortly after that, the plane crashed in Cerritos, and I was like, oh, I was afraid. And you know what was funny is I got off the airport at the LAX airport, and I looked like a suntanned Miami Vice kid. You know what I mean? And it was freezing. Here I am in Puerto Rican, attire and Caribbean attire, and it was freezing, and I'll never forget that. And but on that flight, I'm gonna tell you guys something. On that flight, my brother and I went, and my brother actually, he went to low. I didn't know this, but he went to in New York. We were in New York, and he got marijuana for the first time. And yeah, and we got it in there through the plane, and I got stoned for the very first time.
Wow.
And that kind of.
So how old were you then?
I was preteen. I was probably about I don't know, maybe 14 tops.
Okay.
So you had marijuana on the plane?
Yes. I don't want to. Didn't want to say that, but
don't worry. I think the statute of limitations passed.
This was in the 86. Yeah. And was I nervous? Absolutely. Yeah. I'm the one who smuggled it in.
Of course, your brother had you being the drug mule.
Yeah. So there's a story about that too. You know what I mean? As I was playing, so I got back here to California. Immediately got back into soccer, and you guys, when I was transported, I didn't. When we went to I went to go play in San Diego. A team from Mexico was there, and they asked me to please try out for my team, and it was in Guanajuato, Mexico. And I thought,
what an honor that was, huh?
Yeah, that's a great idea. So here I am coming back and forth, from Mexico to California, Mexico and back and forth and playing. And I thought this is a great idea. But what I didn't know is I brought my alcoholism with me.
Yeah, things were starting to progress.
Yeah, it was starting to progress. And the coach said to me, hey, we're in a third world country. Please, when the lights go out, please stay in your bunk, stay in your rooms. And of course, as soon as he left, Brian went out the window,
Of course.
And I realized that the American dollar went a long ways. So I met these two beautiful girls.
Of course.
So I realized that, alcohol and the other substances were working really good. So they told me to go back and bring some stuff back. And now I didn't know anybody there. So my brilliant idea was, wow, these girls really want to have fun with me. So I thought that was a great idea. So I went back to the nightclub we were at earlier drinking, and the age limit there, I was almost like 16. It's got to be about 16 then, and they didn't question us. Didn't question because money was flowing,
right?
So they didn't question us at all. And I'm out there drinking, having a great time, and I go back to the bar and I go, hey, yo tengo mucho dinero y yo quiero comprar drogas. And they said, sure. He says, come with me. And I said, sure. I followed him, and they arrested me.
It was
And
a setup, huh?
yes, I didn't know. So I went to the first guy I saw, and I said, "Oh my God!"
The first
The
arrest of
first
Brian D.
arrest the
In a
fir-
foreign country.
in a
I
foreign
like it.
country, yes, and it was in Guanajuato, Mexico, and I said, "Oh my God, man!" And I said, "What do I do?" Well, the coaches come back. They released me, and I came back to the van. I said, "Whoa, oh, I don't ever want to do that again." But the next time I came back, and this whole time I'm coming back, the girls came with me, and when we drove back, at that time I didn't know it was illegal to bring people back. You
Mm.
know, so not only did I bring people back, as I brought these girls who were just partying with me, they didn't even bother stopping us. It was a time of the life that they didn't phase us.
Waving you in and
Yeah, waving us
off
in
the
and out, and
border. It wasn't so
we're having a
pressured.
blast. Yeah, and I continued to play, and I ended up playing for the California Emperors, and
And that what level of soccer is
this
that?
is semi-professional level.
Semi-professional.
Yeah, and then
And a lot of people go through. I'm not familiar with the soccer progression of like.
yeah, in those times of '80s, it wasn't as popular, but in Latin America,
Oh,
it's extremely popular.
of course.
And it was just starting to get fame. I just wanted to put soccer on the map, man. It was, it's the first time when soccer's being played. It's the first time that everybody, as a unity in the whole world, come together and watch this. Watch countries play. And yeah, you might think, soccer is just a bunch of guys running around and kicking in a big goal, and it's not that talented. Try doing it. Try running for 45 minutes,
Right.
nonstop, and getting that ball down the field as a team, playing with team players. And it brings you in tremendous conditioning. Really puts you in tremendous conditioning for any other sport that's out there. So, so my plug is, yeah, play soccer. Play soccer and kick field goals. You know what I mean? You won't get hit as much. So I excelled at that, and they saw me on there, and so I was able to walk on with like the Chargers, and I got to go to Candlestick Park and play there, and seeing that. The reason why I got to go to Candlestick Park is because in the school that I was at, the one of the coaches there, one of the trainers, he was the landscape guy, and so I said, "Why don't you go over there? The field is really good. Try if you could," because we were doing that was in the beginning of the turf time and the grass time. They were trying to get everybody's take on the pitch, And wow, it was such a beautiful. I got to meet some really great professional athletes that I'm still in contact with this day. There's a picture of me and of Anthony Miller. He was a tremendous wide receiver. We got to play with each other and practice each other when he was in San Diego playing with the Chargers. He also played with Dallas Cowboys and the Denver Broncos, and then he retired. And we're both the same age. And man, my alcoholism just progressed as those years gone by. And I wish to
Kind of hard for you to keep it together, and
play
in the background you're sneaking drinks or hitting the bar and
sneaking drinks. And when it hit me was I was playing a tournament in Mexico, and I got hurt. See, but back then we were collegiate athletes, young guys playing against grown men, that has been playing seasoned players for many years, and I got hurt, and I tried amphetamine and what's that one? A painkiller.
Mm.
A painkiller for
the
the
yellow
first time.
jacket.
Yellow jackets. Yellow jackets. And
all the colorful pills.
yeah,
back in the day.
little big bombers, little
Uh-huh.
yellow bombers. And it was, I said, oh, wow. And then they shot me with B12 compound. I'll never forget that. It was my knee, and he says, just here, put your leg up there. He gave it, man, I felt like a racehorse. Oh, my God. I played the rest, didn't feel a thing. And I said, I got to have more of that. And off it went. And later on in life, they just continued.
The amphetamines kicked in with the alcohol. Mm.
Yes. And I'm sitting there in a
How old were you at that point?
I was now reaching the age of 17, 18 years old. was on my own now.
And what were you doing for school? You were still going to school?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
still doing your studies like abroad and wherever you were, still keeping up with your classes?
Yeah, I wasn't doing too well in my classes at all.
Of course.
At all.
But you can get through
Really?
high school back then without doing too much of anything.
The athletic ability got through with a solid D.
Yes.
You know, and then I
DC minus average get you through there.
yeah, and then it just got so progressively worse. It was just didn't show up, didn't bother going. You know, and then the last time I was, I wish to tell you it was my last time getting arrested. I've been locked up in 3 different countries. This last time playing this last tournament, they had it. That was it. I got that little notice in there, and they told me, we no longer need your services anymore. And so I went on a flaming depression, you know, for that. And
Yeah, it's hard to transition from so much
yeah,
stick-to-itiveness and being an athlete and go. I can see the kind of sadness to this day in your eyes.
oh, absolutely. I you know, being, you know, bringing shame to the house, you know, to my dad. And so I came back, and they told me that I had to go back to school again. They said that I didn't. The education in Puerto Rico gave me a 10th grade level of education, and so the curriculum, how you said the curriculum,
It didn't translate
yeah,
for
yeah,
your
yeah,
credits.
didn't translate my credits. So they sent me back to Kennedy High School, and when I went back to Kennedy High School, I excelled in soccer again, and I got the 2 most greatest coaches that I've ever met was. Vladimir Nieto, shout out to Vladimir, and shout out to Rildo Melendez, who was Brazil. They played in Brazil in the '66 World Cup with Pele. They were tremendous
Yeah,
coaches.
the years of Pele.
Yeah,
Most famous
man, they
soccer
were- oh,
player
those-
of all time back then.
Man, the greatest times of my life was those 1987, 88 at that time, and it was just the greatest time to be alive. You know what I mean?
Great
just to
years.
be a great time to be in Southern California at that time was just in that era. I had the greatest upbringing in the '80s. Was just phenomenal. You know, and that's when gas was still $1 per gallon.
Yeah, we're like the same age.
You know,
Absolutely.
yeah, you know what I mean? And that's where it took off, but I didn't know that I suffered from alcoholism. It was just left untreated, you know, and it just took off from there. High school parties. Oh, here's Brian, you know, the great soccer player, Brian. So I'd have to, you know, go with the flow there. They said, okay, I come to those keg parties, and they'd put mass amount of stuff on the, hey, Brian can do this. So what I had to do, I had him, you know, hey, you know, you can't dare a teenager. You got to go with it, you know. So it wasn't so much the drugs and the alcohol. It was the whole lifestyle around it that was the high too.
Yes.
You know, and so I had to keep up with the
A lot of
Joneses.
encouragement back then.
Oh
Back
my
to your
God. And it
parties
didn't
and
take much.
tapping the kegs and so much cocaine and
So I tried cocaine, and I thought, well, you know what? I didn't like cocaine too much. I just like the way it smells. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden they said, you know, as it progressed, so did my using progress. It went
and
from
it was
cocaine.
less sports and it was
Yes,
more
less-
party in the
That's
transition.
right. Everything considered, you know what I mean? And then it just became, you know, I like to say it this way, the man takes the drink, and then the drink takes the man. And that's exactly how it was. All of a sudden, I'm not showing up for school anymore. I'm not playing anymore. But my drug use and my drinking had just progressed more. You know, and the moment I tried amphetamine, that's where it took off. This was my new thing. You know, it kicks cocaine's ass. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I said, wow, I can drink. I could perform with the ladies. I could drink longer. And oh man, this was great. You know, and I played a few more times, and then that was it. It was interfering with my alcoholism, you know, and that's when I realized, see,
And that was your senior year in high school?
yeah, man.
You found meth your senior year?
Yeah.
The times that you got arrested, what did you get arrested for?
Ooh. This was in my early addiction?
Yeah, you said you were arrested a few times.
In
Oh,
3
for-
different
for-
countries.
The first time was buying narcotics from an undercover in
Right.
Mexico. I wish I could tell you
Good one
that.
to
You know,
start
it just, I wish I could tell you that was the first time, but the second time I went down there was, a few, I just want to say a year later or 2 years later, I thought to myself that, since it's a different more South Mexico, I thought it would be different. And it's not. It's not. Just different people. And, and I didn't realize it was just a money thing. It was just a money thing,
Yep. They probably paid to get you out.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the time they bust you down there. They offer you the certain amount of dinero to get out.
Yeah. Yeah. And what I couldn't put together was Brian, drink, jail. Brian uses jail. I didn't put that together. I just thought it was just a coincidence. It's just maybe that they're just not agreeing with my lifestyle. You know what I mean?
Just bad luck.
Yeah, just, it was bad luck, man. These guys, and it still didn't compute. I'd love to say that it got better, but no. I thought it got better, but it got worse.
We're going to get into the worst part in a minute right here. We're halfway through SSP 43. We're going to caffeinate up a little bit while we go to our sponsor, and that's His House New Creation. If anybody needs help anywhere, you just call this number 877-345-4138. And that number again is 877-345-4138. And we're going to go to commercial, and we'll see you right back.
At Embrace Life Change, your journey to mental wellness begins in a place where understanding meets action, where care is personalized and recovery is achievable. With over 30 years of experience, our expert team offers a range of evidence-based treatments tailored to each individual's needs. From anxiety and depression to complex psychiatric disorders, our comprehensive approach includes cognitive behavioral therapy, mindfulness practices, and innovative programs designed for deep healing. Our small treatment groups ensure personalized care, fostering stronger connections, and a supportive community that empowers your recovery journey. Hear from those who've embraced change and found hope, healing, and a path to a better life with us. Embrace Light Change is more than a treatment center. It is a place where lasting change begins. If you or someone you love is seeking help, call us first. Let's take that first step together towards a brighter future. Embrace Light Change, nurturing mental health, where hope and healing meet.
All right, we're back. Thanks for taking a minute to listen to Glenn's Place, His House New Creation, doing big things in the background as always. We're here to help. Reach out. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. It's never too late to get sober. Let's go. Back with Brian D, of course. We finished off at about 18 years old. Stopped playing soccer. Addiction's about to take off. Found some meth. Oh, yeah. Let's go. I can totally relate. We're both ex-meth amphibians here. So let's go from that point to encapsulate some the war story and then how you ended up where you did with like a Notorious over here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, and it progressed there. And 18. I played. I was still playing again. I figured that I gotta make a change. So I'm gonna play a little more and party a little less. You know what I mean? And so I ended up playing with the California Emperors for a little while, and a little semi-pro team, and in 1990, I stopped playing again. My addiction took over, and I rented a room out from one of my friends, and I ended up hooking up with his ex-wife, and in 1990, I thought I became a man. I thought that, I'm going to do it this time. And I became a father. And my daughter was born in 1990 in Fountain Valley Hospital, October 20th at 1:20 in the afternoon. I remember that very well. Can never forget that, and I'm sitting in that room, and one of my guys that he's partying with, I go, oh, hey, she's in labor now because I passed out. She's, oh, she's ready to have the baby. All right. So he takes me down there. We fly down there, man. Go through a red light. We hit somebody.
What?
Yeah, we hit somebody on Brookhurst and what's before Warner? Was it Talbert?
Somewhere right.
Yeah. But he kept going to the hospital.
Oh, man.
It wasn't that bad of an accident. Got him there. It was just a little boom, like push him out of the way.
1990s fender
Yeah,
bender.
yeah, 1990s fender. Full zoom. I get there, man. I'm in my lucky punk rock leather jacket. You know what I mean? I'm hungover. I run over there and I get up there to the room and there's her mom and her and she's all, you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss it. And I get in there and she goes, take the freaking jacket off. And I go, have you been drinking? I told her, no.
Of course not.
Of course not. And boom, we have my beautiful Brianna. And as soon as we get there, the in-laws come in and her friends come in. And what do? I pop a couple Coronas in there. And we go in the back room and snort a little toot, methamphetamine. And we're partying there. And woo, we're celebrating in Fountain Valley Hospital. Drinking in the hospital. And had no clue that this wasn't allowed. This was just a celebration. And I could hear all these other babies, being born and people screaming and we're the only ones celebrating, me and my friend. And all of a sudden, man, after I think the second or third beer, the nurse comes in and she says, we're going to have to ask you to leave. And I'm all, wait a minute. I'm celebrating, you know what I mean? And it still didn't dawn on me that my drinking was a problem. You know what I mean? This is my celebration, man. Hey, I'm having a kid here. You know what I mean? Let me do me. And they, I don't know now thinking about it now, I don't know too many people who were asked to leave the birth of their child. The very first, and I still didn't think I had a problem. I said, okay, I'm going to go home and set the place up, and off I went, and we went and I had this. We had this apartment where I was a security guard for this apartment complex in this real gangbang neighborhood where we brought my daughter back in there, and so we had free room and board. Plus, I was still receiving the last money of my playing, so I was still receiving money from there, and man, that was quite the interesting place to be in there.
And then your disease just really took off.
Just
right?
really took off. And it was I didn't know that just right here in Anaheim, right next to the 5 freeway, right there off of Brookhurst and Crescent, right in those Alameda Apartments was a serious gangbang neighborhood. So I had to be a security guard for this place, and they give us room and board there, and instead of I just do my rounds at night, and all of a sudden I struck a friendship up with these gang members.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, okay, guys, keep it cool, and I won't be, I won't have to, settle down. All of a sudden, keep it cool became to go, hey, Brian, we're going to be doing this, here. They started paying me off, so I'm thinking, it's a good opportunity. So my hustling came back, and it was all of a sudden Brian's partying with the guys, and walking my rounds at night. I'm sitting there having a few beers, tossing them back, and all of a sudden I realized that my addiction just went full born. And I'm going to tell you something about this place. All of a sudden I get a knock on my door, and he says, "Hey, Brian, stay inside. We got some things we're doing." And he left me a couple cases of beer and a pack of cigarettes, and I didn't smoke cigarettes at the time, so I gave them to my lady, and I go, "Where'd you get the beer?" To this young kid. You must have been about 14, gangbanger. I said, "Wait, where'd you get this?" He said that they robbed the train.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to thinking in the back there as soon as he said, wow, as I'm drinking a few, I get to drinking and then I get to thinking. So let's see if this guy's right, So what do? I go over there to see the train there. And what do? I robbed the train. Yeah. I robbed the train of countless amounts of cases of beer. You know, they tell you never to go back to the scene of the crime. I went back about 10 times.
You are the scene of the crime.
Back.
So
And I just-
so that progression from there to where you got to prison.
That's right.
So let's go through that because
Zoom and
we got a whole bunch of sobriety to do too.
oh yeah. Yeah. And then, so, oh my God, it just progressed since then. And wow, it was just off and running then. And, ended up losing that place, you know, and, end up getting locked up due to my addiction. It wasn't due to robbing the train. That was minuscule. It was many lives. And then I realized that,
So
you know,
all your past and arrests caught up with me.
You know, and then we had to move out of that place. We got evicted. Of course, we got evicted out of that place. And, you know, we ended up going to the hotels down on Beach and Ball.
Woo-hoo.
And whew, wow. Yeah, I stayed at the Covered Wagon for about 5 years and probably slept for about maybe an hour.
Yeah. Got to have some downtime. Yeah.
Then I realized that my everything, I used to live and I lived to use. And eventually caught up to me. And after a series of breaking and enterings, a series of thefts, everything I did under the influence to support my habit, and whatever's left, I paid the rent. You know, and I got caught quite a few times more in and out. And this last time, the judge just slammed me with a few years. You know, and
How many years did you do in prison?
I did about 8 years. And I don't know, man.
It's a little bit more than a few.
Yeah.
But to the prisoner mindset, that's a few.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. And so
8 years in prison.
yeah, I got locked up for a little bit, and it was horrible. And
So you went to prison. You're going to get out. And how much of your using did happen? Did you start to get sober in prison?
I did.
Were you introduced?
Towards the last end, I was introduced to recovery through H&I.
Oh,
Two
that's great.
old men came into this cell and they said, "Hey, if you want AA, be at this cell, get out of your cell and be at this apartment." And of course, I went there for all the wrong reasons. I went there to intermingle with the other inmates to, you know, either bring things back, you know what I mean, the things we
Send
do in
some
there.
kites.
Send some kites, you know, get some info, you know what I mean, do my little recon, and I'm hooting and hollering and smoking and joking, and the guy said up to me and he said, "You know what? You guys go ahead, smoke and joke, be as rude as you want. I get to do something you guys don't." And I told him, "Yeah, what's that?" And my ears got real big, and he said, "I get to leave." So I kind of hit the core of my being, and I listened up to that guy, and I said, I'm going to take a good look at this guy, because I'm going to find him when I get out. And, you know,
No one talks to Brian
yeah,
like that.
yeah, nobody talks to, talk to us like that. And I kept wondering, let's see if this guy comes back, and they did it again. And soon enough, I was less rowdy, and I heard him, I heard that man. And then it became upon my release. I said, well, maybe those guys, what they were talking about, maybe they were right. Maybe I do have a problem. Maybe let's try and give this a shot. Is it, And then so I went through this little STAR program, and they said, if you have problems with drugs and alcohol, you might want to fill this thing out. And so I answered all the questions, and I said, wow, I looked over the questions. I said, yep, I qualify.
Bam, I passed that test.
Yeah, flying colors. And I watched a video, and I went to this place called Cooper Fellowship.
And we got a picture of your first day of release right here. This is with
Yeah.
you and your mom and,
Yes.
and one of your kids. And
Yeah, that's my nephew. My nephew right there. And my mother flew back from Puerto Rico to my sister. That's in front of my sister's house. And she realized that I got out, and she said, my son is home.
that's amazing.
And well, first step is make my amends to her. And she said, what are you going to do now? And I told her, I'm going to do this program. I'm going to do it.
I know, and you have done it. Let's get into some sobriety here, man. We got like 10 minutes to crack out 25 years of sobriety.
Oh, yeah.
You ready to do that?
Absolutely, 100%.
Woo, we could do another whole podcast on disease.
On disease,
for sure.
yeah, all the fun and crazy, wild stuff of Brian, No, man, I went to this program because I called
Cooper Fellowship,
at Cooper
still there.
Fellowship,
People are still there. It's still
there.
happening.
Saved my life, man.
It's amazing. A lot of people have been alumni through this program.
And that's
Kevin Blue,
that's
too.
where that's where I met
On the
Kevin.
last podcast, yeah.
That's where I met Kevin, and Kevin came in. I came in first, then Kevin came in 8 days later.
Yeah, because you got 6 months on Kevin.
No, I got 8 days. I got 8 days.
Oh, you got 8 days.
I got 8
that's
days
right.
on.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, buddy, and I don't let him forget that.
Coming up real quick. Yeah, never let Kevin.
Never let him forget that.
8 days on him.
I went in there, man,
And it shows too. So.
And you guys want to hear something really crazy? You know that man that came in there and he told me about I get to leave, and I get to do something. I get to leave. Well, he came into Cooper Fellowship. And he got to do his panel. I'm all, ain't that some crazy night? Is this odd or is this God? So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to find this guy out. And instead of going in there and saying, hey, you know what? I saw you in there, and you humiliate with all this false pride, jailhouse mentality. I walked over there to that man and I asked him to be my sponsor.
Amazing.
Can you guide me through this, man? And that man saved my life. That man is called Plumber Jim. God rest his soul.
Oh, really?
And,
okay.
Yeah, that was Plumber Jim, and he taught me how to plumb. He stepped in when my father couldn't. He didn't understand the addiction, and all I was to him was a disappointment. And this man took me through the steps, man, and for some crazy ass reason, before I got in there, man, I thought that I was going to this Cooper Fellowship, man. They made it sound like it was Club Med. It was co-ed. They got a swimming pool, volleyball court. I got to sleep in. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was programmed right when the get-go, and I didn't get a moment rest. I hit the ground running. They taught me a CBT, the cognitive behavioral therapy. I was made my bed. All that stuff I could do. All that stuff I could do. What I couldn't do is fill the hole in the soul. I suffered from something I didn't know I had. So I didn't know I suffered from alcoholism until I got sober. It was until they showed me how to do the 12 steps, that's when I realized that this is actually working. As of October 24th of 2000, God gave me a second chance at life, and I haven't looked back. Man,
Not one relapse.
Not one.
Stay in the course.
Stay in the course. And that picture right there is early in my sobriety when I made amends to my daughter. That was, after they would not allow me to see her during the time at Cooper Fellowship because they wanted to know if I was serious.
Right.
And that made me more angry. So I had to really double down on the recovery thing and really get into the steps, really get into the book and start applying these steps to my life. And, 90 days comes up really quick. You got to get 90 days in this program or pack your bags and get out. If you don't like it, get out. Right. That's what I meant. Pack your shit, Jeff. Yeah. You don't like it here? Pack your shit in a black plastic bag and hit the streets, buddy. And I was afraid of that. I really wasn't afraid of hitting the streets. I was afraid of me. And I wound up in this low-bottom injury recovery house for men. And I said, oh, my God. I looked at myself and I said, this is it. This is it. I wound up in this low indigent recovery house for men where my bed was wrapped in plastic, a twin mattress, and that was me. And I walked out there to get myself something from the store, and I ran into my daughter's mom. She went through Cooper Fellowship. Before me, she just didn't tell me. And I said, wow, because she wanted to see. The whole world, the whole people that loved me wanted to see if I was serious. So I walked out there, man, and that first person I'd run into was her. Last person I wanted to run into, and
how God works.
Yeah, man. And she said, hey, when she was looking at me, she just started yelling at me, you know what I mean? And all I could see to her, man, and my interpretation was Mrs. Crabapple from Charlie Brown. But when she told me that your daughter wants to see you, that's the only thing I heard. And I said, when? And she said, today, stupid. And I said, oh, wow. And here it is, this role model inmate going to meet his daughter for the first time. See, that was the last place I ever wanted to reunite with my daughter, was in a low bottom injury recovery house for men. I think I could do a little bit better than that, because I would, and that, man, that longest walk, man, a longest walk a man will ever travel is from his head to his heart.
Absolutely.
As I walked down there, because I didn't get in the car with her because I was afraid we were going to go take off and do something stupid. I walked down there and she followed me, you know what I mean? And as I walked, I thought flashes of my life. When I told my baby that I was, here, Brian, daddy's going to be playing here. Daddy's going to be playing on this channel. So all she knew as a child, up to 4 years old, that I was a professional athlete. That's all she knew, and then daddy didn't come home anymore. So who am I to come back cha-cha in somebody's life, and man, when that, I could still hear the tires pulling up at that sober living house on Maury Lane and on Brookhurst and Chapman, 12002 Maury Lane, man. I'll never forget that, man. And she came up there and I looked around and I said, oh my God, I looked at all the other guys that were in the house. I said, everybody act right. My kid's coming. Because at that moment in time, nobody else had a child in this world but me. And when I saw that car pull up in that driveway, the earth stopped rotating. There was a crack in the planet and it shook the very ground I stood on, man. And the only thing I could hear was my heartbeat. And I thought to myself, what am I going to say to her? What am I going to say to her? So I picked up the telephone and I put a quarter in there. And you know what that's called? That guy who picks up the telephone? That's called a man. A lost man. And the other guy that's on the other side of that phone, that's a better than me. And I go, hey, check this out. And I call him up. This is my sponsor. I call him up and say, hey, check this out. Hey, I'm going to meet my kid for the first time. And he says, what? You don't even got 30 days. What? Hey, check this out. He says, 2 things are going to happen. 1, she's going to accept you. 2, she's not going to accept you. And you deserve both. And he hung up the phone on me. Well, after listening to the dial tone for a little while, I said, what the hell was that? What kind of AA, what kind of program recovery is that? And I realized that he was right. And I walked out down there and I looked at the car, man. I wanted to rip that car door open, man. I looked in there and I realized that she wasn't a baby anymore. That's when it hit me. My God, where did all the time go? What remotely important do I have to say to this child that I left her? The only person that loved me unconditionally, you know what I mean? And I let her down, and I just wanted to rip that car door, man. I wanted to reach in there. I wanted to smell her and I wanted to kiss her. I just wanted to tell her how sorry I was for ever leaving and nothing came out. The only thing that came out was she rolled down the window a little bit and I looked in there and I said, do you know who I am? And she looked back at me and she said, you're my daddy. And I ran back in that room and I cried so hard. I felt it to the core of my being. And for the first time in my life, I kneeled down and prayed. And I meant it this time. I said, God, please help me. Let me just see her one more time. I was too emotional and radical for her to just see her. And she said that I'll be back, And as of October 24th of 2000, that little girl has never left my side, man.
And now you got other kids and 25 plus years of sobriety.
Yeah. So man.
God
saw fit. I didn't do too well with my daughter, so he blessed me with 2 sons.
Yeah.
There's the family.
Here's a picture with your other
family.
kids.
There's my family reunification. I reunified with that's my sister, my younger brother, and their children.
That's awesome.
And I'm finally allowed back in the house. They finally saw that Brian is serious this time. Yeah. They finally saw that, Brian, you could be an uncle again. You could be a part of the family. You could be a part of society again. And my sister, to this very day, when I call her, she says, sobriety check. You still sober? I said, yep. I said, okay, we can continue this conversation.
And one of the cool things that I hear you share in meetings a lot, we've been to a lot of meetings, is you want to really go make a difference. And your recovery is like, go home and love your family. Right?
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. It starts there. You really want to make a difference? Go home and love your family.
Right.
Go home and kiss that child, man. Go home and be the man that you were supposed to be when you weren't.
Yeah, and you've been able to do that over 25 plus years.
25 plus years. And by the grace of God, my only claim to fame to this program, is by the grace of God and his grace only, my children have never seen me loaded. And for that, I'm truly, truly grateful.
It's amazing.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm. And we just went to a picture up here. We celebrated your 25 years with Kevin B. and Jeff R. and all the people that you've been helping out and sponsoring through the years. And that's a picture of you with a guitar and your mom.
My mom, yes. And that embrace, you could see
look at how happy she is.
The feeling that she said that, you know what? She said, I have my son back.
Mm-hmm.
She said, you're real. You're here. And that's how she's touching me.
Yeah, that's what.
And I played her a
things
song.
the family members go through, and they know how much potential we have.
Oh yeah.
And then they see it just going down the drain.
Yep. And she was,
look at him, man. Back when you were buff, man, you're fishing right here.
Yeah, that was how you say that. That was a few hundred pounds, a few hundred pounds ago. And there's a funny story about that. That's the same boat that I used to get loaded on. Being a deckhand. Right? And here I am fishing on it with one of my guys in sobriety and one of the guys with me, showing me that I could have fun again.
Yeah. I
could have my life again, but this time do it without the repercussions of the ism.
And you've been free.
I've been set free, man.
And you always got such a great attitude. You're always a jovial person. You can tell that you're happy from the inside out.
Absolutely, 100%. Because there is a difference between being sober and having recovery.
Absolutely. There's you and
there is Anthony. There's Tony. There's there's my old. This is in sobriety. Meeting him again.
Okay, because you used to play with him.
Yeah, that's right. We played with each other. Look at the smile
he went on to be a professional athlete.
Yeah. Oh, he went on to play on 2 other teams.
Right.
Yeah.
That's sometimes the thing with a lot of people in addiction of how much we lost that we still have to just keep moving forward with because I'm sure if you would have stayed with it and stayed focused, you could have been a professional athlete too.
100%.
Right. Crazy.
And there we are.
Then there's us last year celebrating your 25 years. The good idea that we had to go over to that meeting before Pacific Palisades burned down.
Yes, before it burned down. That was the most beautiful.
That's
meeting.
The Bread and Roses meeting.
Bread and Roses, correct. Yeah. And I had to sit there. There you go, right there. And that's us right there outside the church. And got to let hey, I leaned over and told him, hey, in 8 more days you can celebrate yours.
Yeah, exactly. That was a lot of fun. We went to it a couple times and to the new meeting last year at the Bread and Roses. And shout out to Jeff R. there in the picture the first time.
Hey, buddy.
We got him. There you go, bro.
Yeah.
And man, it's unbelievable. You're still doing it. So after 25 years, what are you doing, man? Why would you still be going to meetings? You got a couple minutes to explain to the audience of why would you still be doing what's working so well and giving you such a smile from the inside out? And we got a couple pictures too. You're in a relationship in recovery now with Chris and a couple of the later pictures right here. She's got coming up on 7 years now?
8. She'll be on 8.
Oh, 8 years? What? Sorry about that, Chris.
Yeah, she is.
So why would you still be going through?
This is one of my sponsees.
There's one of your sponsees. You got Heritage, Legacy, and Lineage.
Yes.
And, helping other people out.
You got to give back, man.
Yeah.
You don't ever forget where you came from, and you got to give back. You got to show them that it's like the phoenix, man. I could rise up from the ashes, man, from the darkest, deepest darks of death, that we come through, and we survive, and we come through it if we just don't give up.
Yeah.
To continue to do that. That man right there that you saw right there, he was in a garage in a low bottom injury recovery house. Yeah. And I went in there and shared.
We were like the same way, so.
Yeah. So he says, hey, wait a minute. I can relate to you, man. I was an inmate too. And I said, are you serious? You will call me. And we've been friends ever since. He is coming up on 6 years.
That's amazing. And do you got a couple of those last 2 pictures? There you go. At the AA convention.
Showing you that You can have fun. It's right. I did not get sober to be miserable. I did not get sober to be that one guy that's got all these years but not enough days. It's not so much that I count those days as today I get to make those days count today.
Absolutely. We're big on that on SSP.
We make these days count. Look at that.
There's Chris and you
just
today.
My other half. That she does. What a saint of a woman to put up with me. You know what I mean? She's here I am. She's never gone to the depths that I have. You know what I mean? Right. She has got a great story too.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And her and I together make this power couple. We make that. There's so much love in that house, man. Let me tell you.
That's awesome.
We get to
and you're a stepfather to her kid, and
absolutely
so much stories. And man, but we're on the end of SSP 43. I want to do another great shout out to you, Brian, and appreciate it and the energy that you bring on the podcast and just to recovery and life in general, man. It's always good to hang with you and just the inside out. You always got this jovial every time we go to a meeting or you share, you got that same energy, man, so
100%.
I'm glad to share the journey with you and shout out again. But we're going to do some shout outs at the end of the podcast right here. We're going to you can reach us out. You can email us here at info@f3recovery.org or info@supersoberpodcast.org. We got the website. You can reach us at f3recovery.org. You can send us some emails. You got any questions for Brian's? We're on all platforms. We're on YouTube for the video. You can just type in Super Sober Podcast on any platform and we come up. And shout out to the Detox, the story of addiction, the deadliest disease that man has ever known. Trying to sell that out to Hollywood or someone to do a streaming series for recovery that's never been done. Shout out to our first mascot of recovery, Notorious J.I.D.
Yeah.
And the little bro there hanging out like that. Most of us know him very well. And again, thanks for all the people reaching out, the streaming. Go ahead and share this, share. We got a bunch of people that listen and aren't even subscribed. Yeah. And thanks again, Solomon. And don't forget to keep on keeping on.
Thank you for listening to the Super Sober Podcast. Go to our website at f3recovery.org. That's F3Recovery, all one word, .org. We're turning fight, flight, and freeze into free form and flow through practicing the 12 steps and staying accountable to change. Don't forget to keep on keeping on.